He might hurt himself if rejected again. Melissa to my mentor, she made me look unstable while pretending to comfort me. Now she's the one losing everything. I never thought I'd be writing one of these posts, but here I am at 2 a.m., staring at spreadsheets that just destroyed my entire world. My name is Jake, I'm 28, and I work as a data analyst for a mid-sized consulting firm. My wife Melissa is 26, works in marketing, and until 3 days ago, I thought we had a solid marriage of 4 years. I should probably start from the beginning, but honestly, I'm still trying to process everything. We met in college, got married right after graduation, and moved to the city together. The first couple years were great, or at least I thought they were. Melissa always handled our finances because she claimed to be better with money, and I was happy to let her take care of it. I trusted her completely. Here's where it gets complicated. About 2 years ago, I started noticing that my career wasn't progressing the way I expected. I'd apply for promotions, make it to final rounds, then somehow never get selected. My performance reviews were always excellent, my projects successful, but something always seemed to go wrong at the last minute. I started doubting myself, wondering if I was as good at my job as I thought. Melissa was incredibly supportive during this time. She'd comfort me after each rejection, tell me the company didn't deserve me, suggest maybe I should be grateful for job security instead of always reaching for more. She convinced me that maybe I was being too ambitious, that our current lifestyle was perfectly fine. Looking back now, I feel sick about how easily I believed her. The discovery happened completely by accident. Last Monday, Melissa left her laptop open while she went to shower. A notification popped up from her email, and I glanced over without thinking. It was from someone named Brandon, with a subject line that made my blood run cold. Jake's Peterson Industries interview handled as discussed. I know I shouldn't have, but I opened the email. What I found destroyed everything I thought I knew about my life. Brandon, who turns out to be some guy from her college marketing program, had been systematically sabotaging my job applications for the past 2 years. The email chain went back months, with detailed discussions about which opportunities to target, how to undermine my applications, even specific talking points to use with hiring managers. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was Melissa's responses. She wasn't just aware of what Brandon was doing, she was orchestrating it. She had convinced him to help her by claiming I was becoming obsessed with climbing the corporate ladder, and that she was worried about our marriage. She told him she needed to protect our relationship by keeping me grounded. I spent the next 2 days going through everything I could access. Her browser history, old emails, even some documents she'd forgotten to delete. The picture that emerged made me physically ill. Melissa had been controlling our finances not to help us, but to keep me dependent on her family's money. Her parents had been supplementing our income for years, something I never knew, and she'd been using that dependency to justify keeping my career stunted. There were emails to her sister complaining about my unrealistic ambitions, messages to her mother about how I needed to learn to be satisfied with what I have. She'd even convinced some of our mutual friends that I was becoming difficult to live with because of my career frustrations. The woman I married, the woman I trusted with everything, had been systematically undermining my professional life while playing the supportive wife to my face. I confronted her yesterday morning. I printed out the most damning emails and laid them on the kitchen table while she was having her coffee. I'll never forget the look on her face when she saw them. Not guilt, not shame, but anger that she'd been caught. "You went through my private emails," she said, like that was the real violation here. When I asked her why, her explanation was even worse than I'd imagined. She claimed she was protecting our marriage, that my career ambitions were making me neglect her, that she could see us growing apart as I became more focused on work. She said Brandon was just helping her save our relationship. "I did this for us, Jake," she told me, tears streaming down her face. "You were changing, becoming someone I didn't recognize. I just wanted my husband back." The manipulation was breathtaking. Even caught red-handed, she was trying to make me feel guilty for wanting to advance my career. She kept insisting that she loved me, that everything she did was because she couldn't bear to lose me to corporate ambition. I moved out that same day. I'm staying with my friend Tom while I figure out what comes next. Melissa has been calling and texting non-stop, alternating between apologies and accusations. Her family is involved now too, with her mother calling me ungrateful and her father suggesting we go to counseling to work through this misunderstanding. But here's the thing, Reddit. I don't think this is something you work through. I don't think you come back from your spouse actively sabotaging your career for 2 years while lying to your face about it. The betrayal goes so deep that I can't even begin to process it all. I've already contacted a divorce lawyer, and I'm planning something that might be overkill, but honestly, I don't care anymore. I'm a data analyst, and I'm good at what I do. I'm putting together a comprehensive financial analysis of exactly how much Melissa's sabotage cost us, how much it set back my career trajectory, and what the long-term economic impact will be. I'm calling it the Sullivan Household Economic Impact Assessment, and it's going to be thorough. I know some of you will say I should just file for divorce and move on, but I need her to understand the full scope of what she did. I need her family to understand. I need everyone who believed her story about my unrealistic ambitions to see the truth. So Reddit, am I wrong for wanting to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person Melissa really is? Should I just quietly divorce her and try to rebuild my career? Or do I have the right to expose someone who spent 2 years systematically destroying my professional life while pretending to love me? I'll update you all on how this plays out. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to trust anyone ever again. Hey Reddit, it's been a week since my original post and the response was incredible. I've been digging deeper and what I found makes my original discovery look like nothing. 2 years. 2 goddamn years of lies. The Sullivan Household Economic Impact Assessment is now 23 pages long. I've calculated $47,000 in lost salary, but the financial numbers are just fucking numbers compared to what she really did to me. She didn't just sabotage my applications. She played everyone, fucking everyone. My friend Dave from work stopped hanging out with me 18 months ago. Turns out Melissa told his wife I'd been badmouthing Dave, made up specific quotes about how I thought he was dead weight holding me back. Your wife seemed really concerned about you, Dave's wife told me. She said you were becoming bitter and taking it out on your friends. My mentor Sarah stopped responding to my emails last year. When I called her this week, the conversation made me sick. Melissa called me directly, Sarah said. She was crying, saying you were having some kind of breakdown. She told me you'd been staying up all night researching companies, that you'd become obsessed with work to the point where it was affecting your mental health. She asked me to stop encouraging your career ambitions because she was worried you might do something drastic if you faced another rejection. Jesus Christ. She made my mentor think I was suicidal over job applications. But the worst was what she did to my family. My sister Emma called yesterday, sobbing. Jake, I feel so stupid, she cried. Melissa's been texting me for months, asking me not to bring up work around you. She said you'd been having angry outbursts about not getting promoted, that you'd started punching walls and blaming everyone else. I never punched a wall in my life. Never had outbursts about work. She made it sound like you were having some kind of paranoid breakdown, Emma continued. She said she was scared to be alone with you when you got rejection emails. How could I not see it? My own brother, and I thought you were losing your mind. Every person who might have supported my career was systematically convinced that doing so would push me over the edge. But here's where it gets really twisted. I met with Brandon yesterday. Dude, I thought I was helping save your marriage, he said when I showed him the printed emails. His face went white. Melissa made it sound like you were becoming this workaholic monster. She told me you'd started saying you might leave her if your career didn't take off. She was terrified you were going to abandon her for some corporate job. Complete fucking lie. I never said anything like that. She said you two were basically roommates, he continued. That she was only staying with you out of obligation, but she'd been thinking about being with someone who understood her ambitions. Here's the kicker: Brandon thought he was going to end up with Melissa. She made me think I was the good guy, man, he said, voice cracking. Like I was saving her from you. She'd text me after you got rejected, saying how relieved she was that you wouldn't be moving away, but how guilty she felt for being happy about your failures. She told me she was waiting for the right time to leave you. Brandon kept their text conversations as romantic keepsakes. When I explained what was really happening, he looked like he might throw up. Oh fuck, he whispered. What did we do? He forwarded me screenshots showing Melissa's manipulation in real time. Messages where she's complaining to him about my dangerous obsession with success, while texting me supportive messages an hour later. You deserve someone who appreciates your ambition, to him. Don't worry, baby, something better will come up, to me. Gaslit. For 2 fucking years. By my own wife. I reached out to companies where my applications were sabotaged. One HR manager admitted off the record they'd received concerning information about my professionalism. We were told you had issues with authority and unrealistic expectations, she said. The person seemed very credible, very concerned about your well-being. The timeline matches Brandon's interference perfectly. The hardest part isn't the betrayal anymore. It's realizing how completely my reality was controlled. I genuinely believed I was failing because I wasn't good enough. I went to therapy thinking I had imposter syndrome, and Melissa would hold me while I cried about rejections, telling me she loved me, while knowing exactly why I'd been rejected. Melissa's family escalated their campaign yesterday. Her father showed up at my office. Son, maybe Melissa made some mistakes, but she loves you, he said. She was just trying to protect your marriage. Protect it from what? I asked. From me having a successful career. He didn't have much to say to that. Tomorrow I'm meeting with a career counselor to start rebuilding my network. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm moving forward instead of being held back. I'll update once divorce papers are filed, and I've decided how much documentation to make public. So I'm going to rebuild it the same way, methodically and with evidence. Update to Reddit. It's been 2 weeks since my last update and things have gotten absolutely insane. The divorce papers were filed Monday and Melissa's reaction has been, well, let's just say the mask is completely off now. First, some good news. The career counselor I mentioned, she's amazing. Janet specializes in helping people rebuild after workplace sabotage, and apparently what happened to me isn't as rare as I thought. Systematic career undermining by intimate partners, she called it. It's financial abuse designed to maintain control. She helped me craft a strategy for approaching the companies where I was sabotaged. 3 companies have agreed to let me reapply, and one actually apologized for not verifying their sources better. The Sullivan Household Economic Impact Assessment is complete at 47 pages. When you factor in compound career growth and long-term earning potential, we're looking at $200,000 to $300,000 in lifetime financial damage. But here's where things get really fucking wild. Melissa's response to the divorce papers wasn't remorse or anger. It was panic, pure, desperate panic. She showed up at Tom's apartment at 6 a.m. last Wednesday, pounding on the door and screaming that she needed to talk to me. Jake, please, you don't understand what you're doing, she was yelling. You're going to ruin everything, not just for us, for everyone. I told Tom not to let her in, but she didn't leave. She sat in her car outside his building for 8 hours, 8 fucking hours. When I finally got home that evening, she was still there. The conversation that followed was the most terrifying glimpse into her real personality I've ever had. You can't divorce me, she said the moment I walked up to her car. Not I'm sorry or let's work this out. Just you can't divorce me. Watch me, I told her. You don't get it, Jake. My parents have been supporting us for years. If we get divorced, they're going to want to know why. They're going to ask questions. Good, let them ask questions. That's when her whole demeanor changed. The fake tears stopped and she got this cold look I'd never seen before. My father cautioned the loan for your car, she said quietly. My mother's name is on our apartment lease as a guarantor. My family has financial ties to your life that you don't even know about. If you push this divorce through and make me look bad, they're going to pull all that support. You'll lose the car, the apartment, everything. And good luck explaining to future employers why you suddenly became homeless and carless right after your divorce. I felt like I was seeing her for the first time. This wasn't the woman I married. This was someone who'd been calculating and manipulating for years. Are you threatening me? I asked. I'm explaining reality, she said. We're tied together financially in ways that make divorce very complicated. It would be much easier for everyone if you just came home and we worked this out privately. You mean it would be easier for you if I shut up about what you did? I mean it would be easier for both of us if we handled this like adults instead of airing our private business to lawyers and judges. Every conversation I've had feels contaminated now. How many times had she threatened me so subtly that I didn't even realize it was happening? That conversation scared the shit out of me, so I called my lawyer immediately. Turns out, Melissa was right about some things. Her family's financial involvement is more extensive than I realized. But here's what she didn't count on: I'm a fucking data analyst, and I've been documenting everything. My lawyer and I spent the weekend going through every financial document I could access. We found evidence of her parents' support going back to the beginning of our marriage, but we also found something else. Tax documents showing that Melissa has been claiming me as a dependent on her family's returns, reducing their tax burden while making me look financially unstable on paper. I couldn't sleep for 3 days after realizing the scope of their control. They'd made me financially dependent without me even knowing it. This is actually good for you, my lawyer explained. It establishes a pattern of financial control and deception. It strengthens your case and weakens any claim she might have for spousal support. But Melissa's been trying different tactics since being served. First panic, then threats, now she's switched to playing victim. She's telling people that I abandoned her after she sacrificed her own career to support mine. She's claiming my accusations are a result of a midlife crisis and that I'm trying to blame her for my own failures. Some people are buying it. Her sister posted on Facebook about how heartbroken Melissa is that her marriage is being destroyed by lies and paranoia. A few mutual friends have been giving me cold shoulders, but I'm not the same person I was a month ago. I'm not going to be gaslit anymore, and I'm sure as hell not going to let her control the narrative. Sometimes I wonder who else is lying to me that I haven't discovered yet. The paranoia is real, but so is the determination to take back control of my life. Next week, I'm planning to send a carefully crafted email to our entire social circle. Not angry, not emotional, just factual. A summary of what actually happened with selected evidence attached. I'm calling it Setting the Record Straight, and my lawyer has approved every word. Some of you might think that's going too far, but here's the thing: she spent 2 years systematically destroying my professional reputation while manipulating everyone we know. She doesn't get to play victim now that the truth is coming out. My friend Mike said something that stuck with me. Dude, if someone is willing to sabotage your career for 2 years while pretending to love you, what else are they capable of? Good fucking question, Mike. The divorce hearing is scheduled for next month. My lawyer is confident, especially with all the documentation we have. But honestly, I'm not doing this for the legal victory anymore. I'm doing it because I refuse to let her rewrite history. Melissa called me yesterday, crying again. Jake, please, can't we just go to counseling? Can't we try to work this out like we promised we would when we got married? You sabotaged my career for 2 years, I told her. You turned my own family against me. You manipulated everyone I care about. What exactly would we be working out in counseling? I made mistakes, she said, but I love you. Doesn't that count for something? No, I said. It doesn't. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm in control of my own life. It's terrifying and liberating at the same time. Next update will be after I send the email and see how our social circle reacts to the truth. Something tells me it's going to be interesting. Update 3, it's been 3 weeks since my last update, and I honestly don't know where to start. The email I sent to our social circle, let's just say it worked better than I ever imagined. But first, I need to tell you about something I discovered that makes everything else look like child's play. After Emma showed me those weird text conversations, I started reaching out to other people in our lives, asking about their conversations with Melissa over the years. She wasn't just sabotaging my career. She was building psychological profiles on everyone we know. My friend Mike told me Melissa had asked him detailed questions about his divorce last year, specifically about how his ex-wife had turned their mutual friends against him. She wanted to know exactly what his ex did, what worked, what didn't, Mike said. She asked which friends believed the ex, which ones stayed loyal to me, and what I would have done differently to control the narrative. Dude, she was taking fucking notes. My cousin Sarah said Melissa had pumped her for information about our family dynamics, which relatives I was closest to, which ones I'd be most devastated to lose support from. She asked me what would hurt you most, Sarah told me, sounding sick. I thought she was trying to avoid accidentally upsetting you. I told her you've always been terrified of disappointing the family, that you'd rather quit than be publicly humiliated. My old college roommate David said Melissa reached out 6 months ago, claiming she was planning a surprise for our anniversary and wanted stories about my college years. She asked about your biggest failures in college, David said. What made you give up on things, how you handled rejection, what your breaking point was. I told her about how you almost dropped out junior year when you failed statistics, how you were convinced you weren't smart enough. She'd been collecting ammunition for years. Not just about me, but about everyone in our social circle. She knew exactly which buttons to push, which insecurities to exploit, which fears to trigger in every person who might have supported me. Every conversation I've had feels contaminated now. How many people shared personal information with her, thinking they were helping her be a better wife, when she was actually building a database of how to destroy everyone we know? Armed with this knowledge, I decided to go nuclear with my setting the record straight email. I didn't just include evidence of the career sabotage. I included examples of how she'd manipulated information from each person to use against me. The response was immediate and explosive. Within 2 hours, my phone started ringing non-stop. Emma called first, crying and apologizing. Then Sarah, then Mike, then David. One by one, everyone who'd been manipulated started reaching out. My mentor Sarah called. Jake, after reading your email, I went back through my conversation with Melissa. She didn't just tell me you were having a breakdown. She told me specific things about your personality, your fears, your triggers, that she could only have known from someone very close to you. She knew exactly what to say to make me believe you were mentally unstable. She had insider information that made her story completely credible. 3 other people in our social circle reached out to tell me they'd had similar experiences with Melissa gathering information about their personal lives and relationships. But the real bombshell came when Brandon called me. Dude, I forwarded your email to some people from college, he said. You need to know that Melissa did this before, to her ex-boyfriend before you. What do you mean? Remember Ryan, the guy she dated senior year? He had a mental breakdown right before graduation, dropped out of the honors program, never finished his thesis. Everyone thought he just couldn't handle pressure. But after reading your email, I called him. Turns out Melissa had been sabotaging his academic opportunities for months, telling professors he was struggling with mental health issues, convincing his advisor he was in over his head. She destroyed his academic career the same way she destroyed yours. There's a fucking pattern. I'm not her first victim, I'm just the most recent one. The social media response has been incredible. Melissa's sister deleted her Facebook post about me, destroying the marriage with lies. Several mutual friends who'd been giving me the cold shoulder reached out to apologize, but Melissa's response has been unhinged. She showed up at my office yesterday, screaming in the lobby that I was destroying her life with lies and threatening to sue me for defamation. Security had to escort her out. Then she started calling everyone who'd received the email, trying damage control. But when you've spent years manipulating people, and they suddenly realize how they were manipulated, your credibility is shot. Emma told me Melissa called her, crying and claiming I'd twisted their conversations. She kept saying you were having a mental breakdown and rewriting history, Emma said. But Jake, I have the text messages. I can see exactly what she asked me and when. There's no twisting involved. My lawyer says her defamation threat is empty. Everything in my email is documented with evidence, and truth is an absolute defense. Besides, he said, if she sues you, she opens herself up to discovery, which means we get to subpoena all her communications. She really doesn't want that. The divorce hearing is next week. My lawyer is confident we have one of the strongest cases he's ever seen for emotional and financial abuse. The documentation of systematic manipulation, combined with the financial control evidence, paints a clear picture of someone who was deliberately destroying my life while pretending to love me. But the legal victory isn't what matters anymore. What matters is that I've taken back control of my narrative. For 2 years, Melissa controlled how everyone saw me as a failure, as mentally unstable, as someone who should be grateful for scraps. Now everyone knows the truth. My failures were manufactured, my mental health issues were fabricated, my unrealistic ambitions were reasonable career goals being systematically undermined. The career rebuilding is going well. 2 companies I reapplied to have called for interviews, and one recruiter said my story about overcoming systematic sabotage actually made me more attractive as a candidate. Anyone can succeed when everything goes right, she told me. But someone who can identify and overcome deliberate sabotage, that's problem-solving ability we want on our team. For the first time in years, I feel like I'm in control of my own life. It's terrifying and liberating and empowering all at the same time. Next update will be after the divorce hearing. Something tells me Melissa has a few more surprises in store, but I'm ready for whatever she throws at me. I'm done being manipulated.